Hi! Welcome to this part of my review featuring Cultos Innombrables. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review featuring this role-playing game, where you play as the Mythos cultists, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about combat and other details. Combat in this role-playing game is cyclical. Each cycle is called an assault. It's basically a combat round in other systems. During each assault, each character will have the opportunity to act once. This round or assault lasts between 5 to 10 seconds in game time. The sequence is quite simple. In the first step, everyone is caught unaware. When combat begins, everyone gets a negative modifier to their defense. Then the game director determines if someone is surprised during this first part of the assault. If someone is surprised, that character won't be able to participate in this initial assault. So those that are not completely surprised will determine initiative and will get to act during this initial surprise assault. After this surprise assault, everyone that has not yet activated or acted will get to determine their initiative score. And following that, everyone will act according to said initiative score. During your turn, you will be able to shoot a weapon, move several steps nearby, attack someone with a melee weapon, all sorts of things, even activate some objects, interact with the environment, and so combat continues in the order of initiative until one side has been defeated or the other side has given up, or maybe they fled the battlefield. Let's talk about initiative. You make a roll adding your initiative score, and the highest result goes first. When it comes to attacking, you call an attack or you explain how you're going to be attacking a character. This is focused completely on the narration, the description. It gives priority to the story. So you're going to be saying something like, I attack the cultist of Dagon as I raise my dagger and call the name of Cthulhu, trying to wield his power against my enemy. So you make your roll, and depending on your weapon, some additional modifiers that the game master adjudicates or the game director, you could take advantage of a positive aspect as described in the previous part of this review, allowing you to use the higher result of the 3 dice that you have rolled, or depending on the circumstances, maybe there is a negative aspect that hinders you, and you need to take into consideration the lower result instead of the higher or the center one. You're going to be rolling against a passive score, a sort of target number determined by your opponent's defense. That character could perform some sort of defensive maneuver, adding a modifier to that defense score. So for example, maybe you are attacking an enemy that is not reacting. Then you only take into consideration the defense value. But if that character decides to jump a fence or drop down a balcony when you are shooting at that character, then a score related to that defensive maneuver will add to the defense value. So maybe the defense was 7, but that character used something that was related to an athletics maneuver, a sort of athletics action, and therefore now the difficulty is not 7, it's perhaps 12. That character would be sacrificing his or her own action when their turn comes up. There is also a chance for you to roll a critical hit or a critical failure, allowing you to deal more damage or get some sort of positive aspect to help you, or perhaps a negative aspect is placed upon your character. Maybe you were attacking someone with a screwdriver, trying to stab them, and they move to the side at the last moment because of your critical failure, and you end up stabbing the wall and you perhaps hurt your wrist. So now you have the aspect of hurt wrist or numb hand, and you cannot attack as well until you get rid of that aspect. Damage is determined by the weapon that you are using. These are more or less broad categories, but damage could also be modified by different situational elements or nuances. There are different sources of damage, and there are ways to reduce that damage as well. Maybe you are wearing Kevlar, or maybe a thick leather jacket. That could lessen the damage that you take, but you could also take damage from falling, or perhaps from burning, from poisons. In some cases, like for example when falling from a great height, you will have to suffer raw damage. But when you are trained to resist some sort of toxin or disease, then you need to make a check. You can also suffer from asphyxia, extreme temperatures, fire, explosions, and the like. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part we are going to talk about chases, health, and healing. I think that the combat rules for this RPG are definitely more focused on storytelling. There are ways to keep your character from dying immediately. You can't get killed with a well-placed shot or stab or whatever, but because of the aspects and the dramatic points, there is almost always a way to, if not escape the damage or the harm, at least you will be able to lessen it, so that your character is scarred rather than eliminated right away. But as you will see when I talk about the different health states and sanity later on, of course, you will see that it still emulates, or rather simulates, that Lovecraftian fatalism or doom that is so prevalent in the Mythos stories. Thank you for watching this part of the review. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that have been supporting the channel by sending right through RPG gift certificates. If anyone else wants to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, and see you later.